All right, the mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, asked the Pentagon for National Guard to help with the 7,000 migrants bused to D.C. from Texas. Second time, Pentagon says, no, not going to send troops in to help you. Okay. So Bowser doesn't know what to do. D.C. much smaller than New York, and New York's got about 1,000. D.C.'s got 7,000. New York's having trouble, and it's 5 times the size of Washington. So this migrant thing is off the charts. And there is a group called the Center for Immigration Studies that knows more about it than any other group in the country. And we're pleased to have its executive director, Mark Krikorian, joining us from Washington this evening. So I understand there is a new policy from the Biden administration about how federal agents and agencies should deal with foreign nationals who cross our border illegally. Can you explain that to us?
You know, what it amounts to is that this administration is trying to turn the federal government into an illegal alien sanctuary, just like California and New York and what have you. So the issue here is that ICE, the immigration agency, will send what's called a detainer to another law enforcement agency that has in its custody a deportable alien, somebody they arrested for other reasons, drug dealing, drunk driving, whatever. And what that order that's called a detainer is the shorthand name, and it's based on a law Congress has passed that says, please hold on to this person for up to 48 hours after you're done with him so that we can come and pick him up. Because a law enforcement agency can't hold people after, they've finished with them. They have to let them go. Congress has said, with this exception, they can hold on to them until ICE comes and gets them, up to 2 days. What this new policy is one federal agency, the Marshal Service, part of the Justice Department, is now not going to honor, not going to pay attention to these orders from ICE and just let illegal aliens go, even though they're deportable. But once the Marshal Service is done with them, they said they're not holding on to them for ICE to come and pick them up. This is unprecedented, where one federal agency is refusing to cooperate with another sister federal agency. And it's a logical development from this administration's opposition to the very idea of enforcing immigration laws.
Okay, so both ICE and the Marshal Service are under Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, the Department of Justice.
No, Garland, ICE is in DHS. It used to be part
Homeland
of
Security.
Justice.
Homeland Security. Right. Okay. So Garland would have to sign off on this. Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary, would have to sign off on it. And of course, President Biden would have to sign off on it. All three of those men would have to say, yeah, this is what we want. Go ahead.
Absolutely, they have to. This is not some accidental thing that some bureaucrat happens to have done and that nobody, higher up knows about. This is part of the Biden administration perspective that immigration law itself, the idea of immigration laws, are illegitimate, and they refuse to enforce them. They consider them wrong. Congress passed them. They think they should not exist, and so they're simply not enforcing them.
Okay. So this is an ideological belief that overrides the constitutional imperative that President Biden uphold the laws of the United States. I think Biden may be well impeached on this if Republicans take the House in November. But let's put that aside for the moment. The message that every federal agent is getting is that their bosses, their superiors, they really don't want them to bother the illegal aliens. Once they get here, they should be able to do what they want to do, correct?
Absolutely. That's what it amounts to. The president, when he was running for office, he said he doesn't think anybody should be deported who's an illegal alien, even if they have committed crimes like drunk driving. Basically, they say only illegal immigrants who have, drawn blood, who have killed or raped someone.
Violent crimes.
Right.
Okay, so this story about the U.S. Marshals not honoring requests from Homeland Security, has gotten almost zero publicity. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, very little. There was a story in the Washington Times. We wrote about it in the New York Post, but beyond that, it doesn't seem to have gotten a lot of traction. And this is the kind of thing Republicans in Congress should be, raising a ruckus about to sort of cut it off at the pass.
The Republican Party is, maybe they'll mobilize after Labor Day, but right now, they're like that. But the greater point is that the American press doesn't want to report things like this. Any negativity on the border, they're going to ignore because it makes the Biden administration look bad in the eyes of independent voters. That's what it's all about, is it not?
I mean, it's a combination, I think. It's both that the regular media, the legacy media, is protective of the administration. They're covering for them. But the other thing is that they consider illegal immigrants a kind of protected class that, are sort of a victim class and have to be protected, and that that supporting enforcement of immigration laws they consider as somehow like punching down or something, whatever the term is they would use.
The term is repressive.
Right, exactly.
And that's what they do. Final question. From your data and your experience in this area, do you feel most Americans want an open border?
No, certainly not. When you ask them, there's no question they don't want an open border. And yet, I don't know why this hasn't resonated more. I mean, it does resonate a lot, but I think when you add it on top of gas prices and eggs cost twice as much and all the rest of it, it adds to it, but it almost gets crowded out because there's so much other terrible news caused by this administration that it maybe doesn't get the attention that it really needs.
But if the Biden administration understands that the open border is not a popular issue, why would they keep pushing it? What's in it for them politically to keep pushing? This may well sink Joe Biden. It might, if it ever gets traction.
Yeah, I think some people who imagine that this is a kind of part of a plan to import Democratic voters, maybe, but I don't think that's what's at the core of this. I think this is an ideological belief that borders are morally wrong and that the American people, even if they vote for it, have no right to keep anybody out. That's the basic worldview of the people who run immigration in this administration. Nobody agrees with that except a handful of people like them, but they're the ones in charge. They're the ones setting policy.
All right, Mr. Krikorian, thank you very much for helping us out. Really appreciate your time.